The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network. And hello, everybody. Welcome inside a Wednesday episode of Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by our good friends, Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown, right above our heads. I'll tell you what, Greenwood has to love Wednesdays. You get the big logo up there. You don't have to squint to see them in the corner anymore. Big logo up top. And me and Scotty Mincher to my right, my sidecar, my buddy. What's up, buddy?
What's up?
I think we're both ready for today, aren't we?
That's why I like to call it Wonderful Wednesday, because you got the dynamic duo of us and, Greenwood, they get their just due.
Yeah, no one says no to some alliteration. Wonderful Wednesday dynamic duo. It's all good. We look ready today, buddy.
Yeah, we do.
Show off that hat.
We're ready for some
There it is.
I think this is the one. I think I'm gonna give it to you this Friday, and
I will wear it on a show, Scotty. I swear, I will. But like I said, if next week we're playing each other, it's a no-go for me on that particular day. But I definitely will wear it, even if we advance and I'll wear it. If you advance, I'll still wear it. Man of my word, we made that bet. It's on tape. You can go watch it. And the Royals definitely did not win the division at all. A 7-game losing streak would plummet that hopes and dreams right away. So I will wear it. I am a man of my word. It just is not going to be while we're playing each other. That's bad mojo. I wouldn't ask you to wear the Royals hat while we're playing each other either. So
that's fair.
But hopefully we do get to play each other, Scotty. How about that? Let's just get rid of the national talk first. Let's just get that out of the way, and then we can dive into local for the rest of the show. But how about that, Scott? I mean, I know the NL was last night, but going into last night, all the series tied up at 1.
Yeah.
That was wild.
Especially, if you're not a fan, like say your team didn't make it this year, but you love the baseball playoffs, that's about all you could ask for.
I tell you what, Scotty, I was getting my mojo was getting a little nervous on Monday night because I was thinking what are the odds? Because the NL both went 1-1, you guys went 1-1. I'm thinking, what are the odds that all 4 of them go 1-1? The odds are not in our favor right now. But sure enough, we win that game, and I'm like, holy crap, all 4 series.
And honestly, Anthony, I don't want to bring up something. You did what you had to do. You got out of there with a split. But honestly, I thought you guys really could have, maybe even should have won that first game.
We should have. Let's be honest, Jazz Chisholm, that dude, man, his press conference got me fired up, and I think I got the Royals fired up too. I'm waiting to see him. But he's like, oh, they got lucky when we won the game too. And I'm like, Jazz, we walked 8 of your batters, walked in 2 runs, and you won by 1 run. You got lucky in game 1 a little bit. All right, let's cool your jets a little bit, buddy. It's because the guy pimps a home run, thinks he's all that. Hold the phone. You made an error, buddy. You made the error. We didn't get. You made an error that gave us a run. Sorry about that, but that's not luck. That's just you not being good enough and wanting to back up, your downfalls with a oh, they got lucky. You know what, man? I hope we win the series in Kansas City, and then we can just be like, how lucky are we?
Yeah, I
Dang,
mean, again,
man, bulletin board material, man. The Yankees, like,
I
and
don't think it's
Salvador Perez, who is
fault.
usually not a guy that says anything afterwards. Like, he's usually all like he said it. He's like, man, Rodon fired us up. One inning, he was showing off like he just won the game in 9, and that Royals bench was like, okay, you want to bring that? You want to yell and scream like you just won the whole game in the first inning?
Yeah,
Okay.
because he struck off the side,
Yeah,
right?
and
And
he was just like fired up, man. Like not just in it, but like he was acting like he just won the whole game. Like it was that kind of fired up. And the Royals saw that and they were like, okay, okay. Salvi comes up, hits a home run on a slider that hangs, and then the rest of the inning just we kept the line moving. Typical Royals baseball: steal a couple bases, get a couple of base hits, score a couple of runs.
yeah, and you said it, and I think we talked about it a little bit on last week's show. This year's team, a lot of similarities. I think you
Yeah.
said it, and I agree too. To the Royals team that last won the World Series.
I think any team that's small market that can't go out and go get the superstars like your Aaron Judges and your, we have Bobby Witt, that's the superstar, but you can't go out and get your roster full of guys who can go and just mash. You gotta win playing other ways. You gotta find the small ball. You gotta steal bases. You gotta have speed. And really, I mean, I don't want to bring. I know a lot of people are kind of split on the whole money ball issue, and I don't think it works universally, but I think if you're a small market team like the A's were back when that all happened, I think it kind of works because you can't afford to go get big guys. And if you do, you're going to get them for like a year. And then what are you going to do after that year? Like to sustain success, you had to find the guys that just get on base and can get over and then can just get those singles, just get those productive outs. And I think in the majors, at least, I think overall you're looking at, I think that's becoming kind of a dying art, just getting productive outs and moving the runners. And I actually think this year, if you look at the numbers, Scotty, and you've watched a lot of baseball just like I have this year, with both our teams being good, feels like it's actually kind of making a little bit of a resurgence. Um, teams are more likely to just when the situation calls for it, just kind of move runners, play some small ball. And I think that might have to do, Scotty, and I can get your opinion on this, with them saying no more shift. And now it's like, which is counterintuitive to me because I think when defenses are shifting, that is when you can really play small ball because they're leaving this one side of the field wide open, just bunt it over there, you're fine. But now without the shift, the first year that the shift is kind of outlawed, we're seeing a little bit more. I don't know exactly what the league wide home run numbers are compared to the last like 5 years, but I feel like they're down. I feel like we're not hitting as many home runs in the majors. We have like what one or two guys over 40. And that Judge had that awesome 58 home run season, but like you're not seeing like 5 or 6 guys with 50 plus home runs. Um, I feel like home runs are a little bit down, and I feel like teams are getting more back into your old school baseball, which I think really works for small market teams that can't go out and get the big players.
Yeah, and I honestly think Anthony and believe me, I'm rooting for you because I want to see that AL Central matchup in the second round, and obviously I want it to be my Guardians. We'll see what happens after they lost a heartbreaker in Game 2, but um. I think when you look at it too, I think that's why the Royals to this point they've done exactly what they had to do and still in one in New York, and they've been successful because you look at the Yankees and Judge had all those home runs and he's a phenomenal player, but really after Judge and Soto in, like I think you could argue that the Royals lineup top to bottom, you take somebody like Aaron Judge out of it, and even for the Royals, they have
Mhm.
Bobby Witt Jr., so they can match Judge. They match Judge with their own star, and I just think the rest of the Royals lineup is better and more. I just think they're tougher outs than the Yankees lineup.
Right now, the and it's funny how this always works out in the playoffs. Both of the kind of undernamed guys are really doing the damage for both teams. I mean, you see like Verdugo, who is I didn't even know he existed before this series. He's having a lot of big hits, and then for the Royals, it's not Bobby Witt. He's hitless, and Aaron Judge has one hit, and it's an infield single. So you look at it, and you're going, okay, these superstars aren't coming up yet, but it's the lesser names, the lesser known names that are making waves. How about for us? It's Garrett Hampson, who is a guy that we've basically used to platoon in the outfield and to come in and pinch run. Like he doesn't get a lot of at bats, but he has three huge base hits so far. Go
Yeah,
figure. It's the guys that just like are thriving for that opportunity that come up and probably feel like I'll never get this opportunity one ever again in my life to be in this moment in the world in the playoffs, and they're doing whatever it takes to get on base. Those are the dudes, man. Like
and I think sometimes that goes into what you were saying before about you haven't looked at all the numbers, but you think you see
I think home runs are
all
down. I could be
implement.
proven wrong. Numbers might be wrong.
And but I think when you have your superstars, I think you look at Judge and even Witt Jr. in this series. I
Right.
think sometimes when you're a superstar and on top of it, you've had a stellar season, like an amazing season. I think it's hard to not want to be amazing in the playoffs and just sometimes just relax, take a deep breath, and
Yep.
not. I think the lesser guys maybe don't press as much.
People
And
don't talk about it a lot, Scotty, because he has succeeded so much in Yankee Stadium throughout his career. But when you get in the playoffs and it's that atmosphere, we all know that it's been widely talked about that the Yankees are a really hard team to play for because of the demands of being in that city with that media circus in New York. They're like the most popular team in baseball. It's hard to play in that city, and there have been players that have been really good that go there and just kind of they're not ready for that. I remember Zach Greinke. He went there after he went to Kansas City. He did not have a good time as a Yankee. He was not ready for that. Like he liked being under the radar. He liked being, and that's why he went to Arizona and spent time there. And where else did Zach Greinke go before he came back? I feel like he went somewhere else. But anyway, um, Aaron Judge in the playoffs in New York. I feel like that. I mean, no excuses for the guy because he would never make excuses. But there has to be a ton of pressure to succeed in that ballpark in the playoffs. That's what scares me about him going to Kansas City because it's like a little bit of that pressure is going to be off in the real time because he won't have 50,000 Yankee fans like silent. Like those at bats got silent almost. Like the whole crowd stopped cheering. Like it was like, let's focus in on this Judge at bat. So you're up there. And I bet you can feel it. Like everyone likes to say they can block it out, but I bet you can feel like 50,000 eyes watching you and just like begging you to succeed. It's a lot of pressure. So I'm kind of scared of Judge going on the road where that pressure is a little bit taken off a little bit.
well, and I'm sure you'll probably remember this. I got a couple years on you, but even somebody like um A Rod now
Mhm.
they won a World Series and he had one stellar postseason which makes the contract totally worth it. But I also think there were several years, several postseasons before they finally won that World Series in 2009 where A Rod was sensational in the regular season, and then in the playoffs, he really was a non-factor. Like he just didn't fare well at all. And eventually he broke through. But
Mhm.
I think it is that pressure in New York? Because let's face it, there's pressure in KC and Cleveland, but it does
Not like
not
that.
compare to
Not like that.
pressure in New York.
I would say New York and the Dodgers are probably the two franchises that you have to be made of a little bit different stuff to be able to handle that kind of um, you know advanced screening. There aren't like 50 beat writers for the Royals. There's like two, right? And I feel like the Yankees probably have like 30 or 40 guys that are all beat writing and writing what they think about the Yankees and everything like that. There's podcasts galore about the Yankees. Like I could find exactly one Royals podcast to listen to during the playoffs. And it's from guys that are just Chiefs fans that are like, oh, I guess we should talk about the Royals because they're good this year. So it's not even like longtime Royals fans that are talking about it. It's just guys that work for a network that, like a media network that covers Kansas City sports, KCSN, that just decided to make a Royals podcast this year because the Royals were doing good. Um, it's a different spectrum. Let's talk about your series. Let's talk about the Guardians. Scotty 1-1 with Detroit. You knew it was going to be tough. Detroit came in with a very hot record, and they're the hottest team in baseball down the stretch. What have you thought about your series so far?
Yeah, I think like as far as like my um mental health as a fan and just where the Guardians are at right now, I still feel decent about it. I think they're in a decent spot. That being said, I think they missed a golden opportunity to to go up both win both games at home. And Matthew Boyd, who's nowhere near the talent level of somebody like Scooble for Detroit, he hung in there with them. He gave the Guardians a great outing and kept them right in that game, kept it scoreless. And unfortunately, the Guardians' best weapon faltered, and he's rarely faltered this season. And when does he falter in the playoffs? Game two, he gives up the 3-run homer after quite a battle with Carpenter of the Tigers. So, the Guardians, it wasn't a disaster. They won the first game convincingly, and you have to get at least one when you have the first two at home. But I am a bit nervous with it going to Detroit now. It's
Mm-hmm.
the first time Detroit has had playoff baseball in over 10 years. So that place it's gonna be rocking. Um, I'll take a split. Um, Worst case scenario, you obviously want to split.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but then again, even a split, you're looking at Scooble for game
Yeah,
five.
that's why I wouldn't even want to split, Scotty. I'd
That,
be pretty nervous if I split. I'd want to go to Detroit. I'd want to win both and just say, you know what? Of course, you want to win both. Everyone in Cleveland wants to win both. But I would say, like, more so than the Yankees in Kansas City, because I think the dangerous pitcher for the Royals is pitching tonight in Seth Lugo. Cole Reagans is good, and he has good numbers against the Yankees. But like all year, this has been our ace. He's at 16 wins. He's probably going to get Cy Young votes, even though Scooble's going to run away with that award. But Seth Lugo will get votes because he's like second in the MLB in wins, and he's top 5 in ERA, top 5 in strikeout rate. Yada 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 yada. So the Yankees probably are like, okay, if we drop game 3, we can split, and then we'll have Rodon versus Reagan's round 2 in game 5 in New York. But the Guardians, I want to be correct on the air, even though a lot of people still call them the Indians. I get it. The Guardians, they're looking at this like, man, we got to win these 2 in Detroit. They do not want to have, because look, and props to Matthew Boyd for pitching like he did, but is he going to do that again? Is your team going to be able to match Scooble like pitch for pitch again all the way into the ninth? I don't
yeah,
know. I don't
you
know. That's
what
taking a big gamble.
and you also wouldn't think with how good Scooble has looked, and the Guardians, it's a reason why they won a lot of games and were one of the best teams
Mhm.
record wise in baseball all season. Is they worked hard, and their at bats they grinded, and
Yeah.
they got pitchers pitch counts up, but Scooble just seems on another level right now.
To be fair though, Scotty, they did have some good hits. They did, like, and Jose Ramirez is still there, and I don't care who's pitching, he's dangerous. So it wouldn't be over if they didn't, like, obviously it wouldn't be over, but it wouldn't I wouldn't say like winning 2 in Detroit is like a must and they're never gonna win game 5. I think they can probably get, get the Scooble. I think they proved they didn't they have a big double at some point off of him. I forget who hit it. But they had a couple of hard hit balls. They had a couple of really good at bats. So it's not like he was so untouchable that they have no chance even touching him in game 5. But I would feel a lot more comfortable in Cleveland. These next 2 games are going to be kind of bullpen chaos for Detroit because that's how they like to play when he's not on the mound. Win these 2 and don't even have to worry about Scooble. But what will be interesting, if the Tigers lose tonight, if they pull a Madison Bumgarner and say, you know what, it's an elimination game, we're ahead maybe in the 5th or whatever, Scooble, go.
Yeah, that will
You
be.
know?
Yeah,
If we lose, who cares if he doesn't have rest? And if we have to win, like we have to win this game. Let tomorrow speak for itself. But I know it won't be a game 7 because if the Tigers lose tonight and win tomorrow, they'd still have to play in Cleveland. They would really want Scooble to start that game. But at the same time, like whatever it takes to win game 4 at that point would be like, you know what? Just go win the game. We'll worry about, we believe in we'll worry about game 5 when we get to game 5, but we have to get there. And if it gets to that decision, I would be really interested to see what AJ Hitch does in that. And like, does he just, we have to do whatever it takes. We're up by 1. Maybe it's even like up by 1 in the 8th. And he's like, we need someone to come and throw the 8th inning to get to our closer, or we need someone to just best pitcher go. Just go. We can't afford to lose this game. That'll be very interesting because the Giants were pretty. They were pretty. I know it was a World Series, so that was a little bit of a different story. But when they had Madison Bumgarner on a roll in the postseason, they used him as much as they possibly could just to win games. So I would be really interested to see if the Tigers' backs get against the wall, what they would do with Scooble in that situation.
let me ask you this about this is just exclusively a question about the Guardians, and then I want to ask
Right.
you one more question about the Royals and your Royals going against the Yanks. But first, uh, a guy we know. I'm not gonna drop his name right here, but I think you know where I'm going. He posted shortly after the game. I saw his post, and he said that he basically uh, he compared Emmanuel Clase's outing to Jose Mesa and what he did for the then Indians in the 97 World Series, kind of coughing up game 7. But I just wanted to know, have you seen, you've obviously seen them in the Royals Guardians matchups, but what do you think of Clase this season? How surprised were you that he gave up those runs the other
Um,
day? And do you think if the worst case scenario, my guards lose the series, he's gonna be seen? If they lose these next 2 and they're close, but he's not really a factor as far as closing the game. Do you think it's fair to pin the loss of the series on Clase?
it depends how they lose. Like you still have to lose 2 more games, right? So I can't say, hey, you coughed up game 2, so they went and they lost 2 more games, but it was all because of you. But I will say that the Guardians put him in a position, Scotty, that he's never been in. I went and looked because I was interested. He's had one 2 inning save this year. All right, against the Yankees actually, and I think in August he came in for the 8th and the ninth. But he has never had a 1.1 or 1.2 inning save where he comes in a not clean inning, gets out of it, and then continues that into the ninth. So they asked him to do something that he hasn't done all year long, which is come in a not clean inning. Right, he came in with runners on base in the 8th. So he gets out of that, but you never know what that does to pitchers. Are weird, right? Pitchers are mental. We all know that, especially bullpen pitchers. You don't know what that does up here. Maybe it messed with him a little bit. That at bat against Carpenter. I was listening to MLB Network break it down and breaking down his post game comments, and it was really interesting because I obviously coach hitters and I go through pitch selection. That's one of the biggest things I work with my softball players with is when you're going to swing at pitches, when you want to, look for this and this and this. And Colossi obviously throws velo for days. So Carpenter was saying like he was trying so hard to be early on the fastball that it was that slider that he threw was just a reaction. Like I'm just going to get to it, and that's why he pulled it into right because it was just a reactionary thing, but he was not expecting a slider. He, like most hitters in that situation, two straight sliders, boom, boom. You're like, okay, he's setting up his velo. He's going to throw a fastball here. So Carpenter was geared up for the fastball, and he just kind of reacted mid swing to that slider and was able to get his barrel out to it for a home run. I don't think the slider was the bad pitch. It was obviously not located. Everyone can say, why are you throwing three straight sliders? A third executed slider would have been a strikeout. Right? If
But
he puts that down where it's supposed to be, you're out of the inning or whatever. I don't remember how many outs there were, but if he puts that third slider where it's supposed to be, you're done. Carpenter's out. Like he went for it, he swung, but it was hung. He hung the slider, and that doesn't mean it was a bad pitch selection. It means it was a bad pitch location. There's a difference there. I
but
think throwing the slider in that situation was actually very smart because your velo is so good, and that hitter is going to be locked into your speed in that situation. So he's probably not going to time up the slider, and he didn't time it up. He was really early on it. He pulled it. But if you locate it, the reason he hit it out was because it was elevated. So I don't think a lot of people are saying, and that person you mentioned was saying, don't throw three straight sliders. I saw that post, and I was like, I don't think the slider is the bad call. I think it's this location. And Clase almost never misses his location. That's why his ERA this year is 0.6 something. But he missed. He missed his slider, and Carpenter was able to get enough of his barrel out to it to hit the ball out of the park. Why that guy isn't consistently in the Tigers lineup, I'll never know. I think he's a great player. I think he should be in the lineup every day, but that's a different point if we're talking Tigers, which we're not. But yeah, I don't think. What do you like the slider? I like the slider. I thought it was a good pitch call. I trust your catcher because he's a great one, in Austin Hedges. Um, I think it was a good pitch call. It was just wasn't executed. He hung it.
yeah, it's always easy in hindsight to say, he shouldn't have threw the slider. Don't go with three straight
Now,
sliders.
if he would have barreled that slider and just mashed it like up the middle, then you go, okay, he was on the slider, he was expecting the slider, but he didn't. Like he was early on it. He just got enough of the barrel of it because, like again, it was elevated, so his timing was not there. So I think it was clear by his swing, Scotty, again, that Carpenter was not expecting a slider. He did not react to a slider. He was just able to, because he was gearing so far up for the fastball, he was able to just get enough reaction to that slider to pull it to right.
Yeah, I guess I don't know if there's something to the argument for you. I think maybe for me there is. If you want to argue, well, if he would have threw the fastball, even if he misses on the location, because he throws so hard and it's coming in 101's a lot faster than even 94
Mhm.
miles an hour. So because he throws the fastball so hard, you could say there's a better chance that even if he misses, they just foul it off.
But
So I
here's the thing. All right, so I'm gonna use my little bat here because this is the best. So Carpenter was like out here, out in front of a slider. I don't know if that's a good representation, but he was out in front of a slider, right? So if you take that fastball, where's his barrel gonna hit it? Boom. He's gonna have a good hit. He might not be a home run, but I guarantee he'd get an RBI on that fastball if it was located anywhere in the strike zone. Which Clase could have come with a high fastball, missed his barrel, whatever. Um, but if it was just a challenge fastball down Broadway, which Clase is classic at doing and getting by guys, I'm watching Carpenter swing, and I think he timed up the fastball and then reacted to the slider. So I think he was on time for the fastball. He proved that a little bit earlier in his at bat, and I think if he's watching where he made contact with the slider, I feel like if he threw the fastball and it was in his barrel path, I feel like it gets hit. I do. And fastballs can leave the yard a lot quicker than sliders can. I don't know.
yeah,
I have no idea. Like we're splitting hairs here, but I feel like I defend the pitch selection. It just wasn't located, and that's just the reality. I think just like in football, in any sport, sometimes if the play isn't executed, it doesn't mean it's a bad play. It just wasn't executed. Same thing with the pitch. Wasn't a bad pitch selection. He just didn't put it in the right spot. And if you hang a slider, you're gonna get hit hard.
let me switching gears. I wanted to ask you because
Oh God, we spent a half an hour on this.
yeah, um, I do want to get to stuff, but one last question on Royals Yankees. You said that you don't really consider this game three do or die because favorable pitching matchup going forward, so they could you like their chances of forcing a game five even if they lose today.
Yeah, I think our
But
rotation is deeper than the Yankees. I think we have the clear pitching advantage tonight, and I think we have. I think in Game 4 we might not. I would rather if we're gonna split in Kansas City, I'd rather if we don't win tonight, I'm gonna be a little bit more nervous about tomorrow because it would be Garrett Cole again, and he's like their ace. So um, that would be like a little worrisome to me. I would rather win tonight. I would rather just win tonight, and then we can afford to lose tomorrow, and then put Cole Riggins back on the mountain for 5. But I think tonight is the more winnable game of
but
the two in Kansas City.
I mean, you guys like I don't know, maybe we just saw it differently, but I thought you guys did a pretty
We did
good
okay with Garrett Cole,
goal in
but
that.
that was a Garrett Cole that hadn't pitched in 9 days, and
That's
now he's got his juices flowing again. The dude is good. The dude's their ace for a reason. Like I don't want to mess with him again with a elimination game on the line, especially when we'd be throwing probably probably Waka again, who didn't really pitch great in his own right on game 1 either. So
no.
um, I
But
wouldn't.
I think more so your bullpen let you
Yeah,
down
yeah.
in that.
Our bullpen has been, I think, the better bullpen of the series by far. I know the one Zerpa had a terrible inning and in the game 1, but I think overall our bullpen has been better.
But
Um,
one final thing. Because Aaron Judge has struggled
mhm.
mightily to this point, like, what are your thoughts on if there's a base open and Judge is up, but they already have a runner on? Are you like walk him all day guy, or are you like no? Let's go at this guy.
I would not. I wouldn't walk him to load the bases with less than 2 out, or especially with less than 2 outs. That's dangerous because I feel like Wells is so under, like he protects Judge pretty well, and he's done pretty good in this series. So the way he's hitting and the way our pitchers are attacking him, I think our manager Quintero would just trust our pitchers and try to attack him. To be honest, um, that's risky because if you leave something in the wrong spot, he's gonna take it for a ride. But um, it would depend on the situation, what the score is, and how late it is in the game. I think if the later it goes, the closer it gets, that becomes more of a probability. Because I will tell you, Aaron, I would not want Aaron Judge to be the one that beats us. Like he is not going to hit the game-winning hit. That's just that's how I feel. I would be like, we're gonna have Austin Wells hit the game-winning hit if we're gonna get beat. Um, but if it's early in the game, like if it's the third inning and it's like a 1-1 tie, runners on second and third with one out or something, I'd probably go after him a little bit. Um, but yeah, if it's like eighth inning and we're tied at 2 or something, and he comes up with runners on second and third, yeah, you can go to first. I'm not letting you beat us. But then if you do that, you have to play Stanton. And Stanton is one of those guys, like, he's home run or bust. He doesn't have the speed to run out much singles. So I'm a little less worried about Stanton, although he still is dangerous and he'll still get into some. But he doesn't have the wheels, at least.
Let me ask you this: what do you think is more likely in this series? Is it that Aaron Judge wakes up and is the deciding becomes a factor, or Bobby Witt Jr.?
Bobby Witt, and here's why, Scotty. If you saw the last at bat Bobby Witt had in game 2, pop up, it was an easy out. But he timed it up and he goes over to his first base coach. I got it on camera, hands him his stuff, and he nods like, I got this now. And so I feel like he has his swing down, and it was right there. And I feel like trying to pull a Nostradamus, trying to will it into fruition maybe, but I feel like a first at bat home run might be in store tonight. I'm calling it.
You're calling it.
Calling it. First at bat of the day for Bobby Witt. He goes yard.
At beautiful Kauffman Stadium that won't be the home for the Royals not much longer.
Well, we haven't passed that, Scotty, so you don't know that. We haven't. Jefferson County did not pass that tax bill or whatever levy. So there's a lot of feuds going on right now between the franchises and the Jefferson County, which is where they are. Because remember, they are not in Kansas City technically. They're in a town called Raytown, Missouri. So they are in a county called Jefferson County, which is where my family lives, by the way. So they're in a feud right now with Jefferson County because they didn't pass the bill, and now Kansas City's like, well, maybe we'll just go to Kansas then. And there's another. It's not going to happen for a while because their leases on those stadiums go up until like 2032. So they'll probably have enough time to have another levy and try to get that vote passed again. But right now there's some head knocking going on.
Okay, yeah, it's like
we'll see what happens. It'll be a long, slow burn for that.
Yeah.
But I always thought, and I was talking to this with someone else, if you're gonna get money, like get money and build up the area around the stadiums. That's the big downfall. It's not the actual stadiums; it's the fact that there's right at the stadiums. There's nothing to do. It's in the middle of nowhere. You got like one hotel. You have to go into downtown to do stuff, which is like a 15 minute drive from the stadiums. So get the money and build up the area right at the stadiums. Like build a restaurant there, build a couple more hotels, build a casino across the street or whatever you want to do. But I feel like that's more effective and that would be more appeasable to the residents of the county than saying, hey, these stadiums that you guys have loved since the 70s, we want to ditch it and go downtown.
It's a stadium that's been on my bucket list for years.
We got to get you there, buddy.
Yeah, it's.
I go there every year.
With the waterfall, yeah, we gotta make a trip.
Come down with me, buddy. We'll have some fun. I got a place to stay. We'll have some fun.
Cool, yeah.
Then let's get a hotel.
I'll get my brother on it.
All right, buddy.
We'll plan for 2025.
Let's go into the scoreboard, Scotty. Let's see what we got going on. Scoreboard brought to you by Scotty.
Burnett Pool, Spas, and Hot Tubs. We've got it all.
Exactly. It can be found at ysnlive.com/scores, and it is presented, like Scotty just said, Burnett Pool Spas and Hot Tubs. We have to scroll down and get to last night, which was October 8th. And let's see what went down in last night's scoreboard. We will start with our volleyball. Scotty Perry gets the win 3-0 over Chagrin Falls. How about this, Scotty? McDonald gets the win over Campbell in 4, so it was a 4-set win. But the first set, 25-2, and Aubrey Evans from McDonald had 24 straight serves before a point was scored by the Red Devils in set 1. So it was 24-0. Almost got to 25-0, which I've never seen. I've never seen 25-0 in a varsity match. That would have been something. But he got to 24-0, and McDonald eventually won 25-2. Camel props to bounce back from that because that's a disheartening way to lose the set. They came back, actually won the second set 25-20. The third set was competitive as well, 25-19. And then the Blue Devils ran away with set 4, 25-7 was the final there. So then we move on. East Palestine falls to Lisbon 3-1, the final score there. Blue Devils get a big win. Middle Ridge gets the season sweep over Western Reserve. They win 3-0 over the Blue Devils. How about this? In the OVAC semifinals, Scotty, Beaver Local gets revenge. They get their win over East Liverpool for the first time this season. They were 0-2 against the Potters coming in, but the Beavers get the win this time around, 3-1. They will play Oak Glen in the OVAC championship on Saturday morning. A big win for Beaver Local. We go into Lakeside. They get the win over Conneaut 3-0. Salem, they fall to Girard 3-0. West Branch falls to Hubbard 3-2. That's a big win for the Eagles, especially when you look at power rankings. There's going to be a lot of points for Hubbard going forward. Edgewood gets the win 3-0 over Madison. We have Warren JFK with the sweep over Badger. Howland, 5 wins in a row to close out the season. They are going 3-0. They will go into the tournament with a lot of momentum. Wins over Girard and Boardman to end the year this week. And they will go into tournament play on October 17th. We go into Brookfield. They fall to Garrettsville Garfield 3-0. Mooney gets the win over East, which means on Thursday, Mooney and Ursuline will be playing for the Steel Valley Championship in Mooney round 2 of the Holy War. They've already played once this year. Mooney won that first matchup in 4 sets. So we'll see what goes down in round 2 between Mooney and Ursuline. Jackson Milton gets the win over Lowville 3-1, the final score there. Crestview cleans up a perfect season in the MVAC yet again with a sweep over LeBray 3-0, the score there. It was also senior night for Crestview. So congratulations to all the seniors that have poured into that program. Springfield gets the 3-2 win over Struthers. We have Niles getting the win over Matthews 3-1. Beaver continues their impressive volleyball year with a 3-0 sweep over Newcastle. United gets the win over Valley Christian 3-0. Austintown finishes up the league as they get the win 3-0 to win their 5th straight AAC championship game. Championship over Warren Harding. Waterloo gets the win over Sebring 3-0. Champion gets the sweep over Newton Falls. We have Wellsville getting the win over River 3-1. They also advance to the OVAC championship match. Heartland Christian gets the win over Bealsville 3-0 in the OVAC. And then you have Mohawk getting the win over Beaver Falls 3-0. Boys soccer, Louisville gets the win over New Philly 3-0. Poland all over South Range. Final score there is 6-0. Hoban gets beat by Walsh Jesuit 10-0. Tough night for the Knights. Mohawk falls in a 1-goal affair to Keystone Oaks 1-0. Austintown Fitch gets the win over Warren Harding 4-1. Howland with the win over Boardman 5-0. Canfield celebrates senior night with a 6-0 win over Akron St. Vincent St. Mary. Warren JFK, they fall to Lake Center Christian 4-2. West Branch falls to United 4-3. A big win for the Eagles, going up a couple of divisions. Edgewood falls to Grand Valley 5-1. Bristol beats Pymatuning Valley 4-1. Girard all over Niles, 14-1 the final score there. Hubbard and Lakeview tie at 1. Girls soccer, just 3 games to speak of last night. Jefferson gets the win over Lakeside 3-0. Bristol falls to Pymatuning Valley 2-1. And United beats Badger 2-1 in that matchup there. So that is the scoreboard from last night. We will take a break, and when we come back, we'll have more what's on Scotty's mind, which is the most dangerous question in all of sports streaming. And we'll ask it after this commercial break.
21 News delivers the news as it happens, using the latest technology from where it happens.
Live here outside the Mahoney County.
On air, online,
Wednesday afternoon weather update.
Very dangerous.
and on the 21 News social media platforms.
I'm on the road right now.
21 News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
Craftsmanship to us is 60 years of pride and dedication.
Passed down from generation to generation.
The hardwood floors that your kids take their first steps on.
The solid wood doors you quietly close at night.
The things we create day in and day out are the products that end up turning your house into a home.
At Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, uncompromising quality and craftsmanship built our business.
And it will keep us moving forward for generations to come.
Going the extra mile at Greenwood Chevrolet means we want to take care of the community that takes care of us too.
And we have to work together always. And that's how you stay in business for 40 years.
You know, I love being a helper because when I help somebody, it makes me feel good.
It means a lot that I can make a difference in others' lives.
So I will do everything I can and just being there for them every step of the way.
I want them to know within the first 5 minutes that they could depend on me. That's what going the extra mile means, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Before the lights come on, before the workday begins, before a long day is ended, or it's time to have fun. It all starts with the people at Joe Dickey Electric. From replacing a light fixture in your home to building a substation for your business, no job is too big or too small. The people of Joe Dickey Electric power them all. Joe Dickey Electric, over 60 years of powering the Mahoning Valley.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. They go the extra mile for you. We try to do the same here on this show every single day. Anthony Hartwig alongside Scotty Mincher, my right-hand man, my sidecar. Scotty, we've gone over the scoreboard from last night. We have a lot of great action in Week 8 for Friday Night Football that you'll be at the audible call for. What's on your mind? What do you want to talk about this week?
Yeah, so I wanted...
Let's get dangerous.
Let's get dangerous. That's right. Darkwing Duck style. So I wanted to talk about the home stretch of the regular season in high school football. Only 3 weeks left. So I guess my first thing I wanted to ask you and talk to you about, Anthony, is what do you think is the biggest challenge for coaches in these last 3 weeks heading into playoff time, and how they prepare and have their team ready and things of that nature? Do you think it's a big difference from the start of the season? And what's the biggest challenge for coaches with 3 weeks left in the year as we get closer to playoff time?
Well, I don't think they change anything. I definitely don't think they start to, because if you do that, especially with young kids, you start to make them feel like there's something different, and then they'll play differently, and they might not execute the things. They might be tight, whatever it may be. So I think coaches, especially the experienced ones that have been through playoffs, their aim is to make these next 3 weeks when they're getting ready for postseason as routine as possible, as normal as possible. Hey, another game, another business trip. Let's go out and take care of business. Let's do what we have to do. We'll let the playoffs worry about the playoffs when the playoffs get here. The hardest things to do are, one, to keep that mindset, because it is very hard. You start to kind of think about playoffs, especially for one of those teams that's fighting for a playoff spot. Maybe you're on the bubble, or maybe you're fighting for a home game. You're starting to think about, like, we have to do this, we have to do this, we have to have this team lose. So that's hard to keep that out of your mind. You have to find a way. I think another hard thing is staying healthy. It's been a long football season. Got to make sure your guys are conditioned, healthy, physically fit, physically as good as they can be come week 10 and 11 for postseason. I think another thing is just we talk about physically being conditioned. How about mentally? Like, it's a mentally long season, and you've been through it, and you're right there, and you're so close. Sometimes the closer you get to the finish line, Scotty, the harder it is to run, right? Once your body sees it's close, it wants to give up. It's actually mental. We know that. Like, there are studies that show when you're running a marathon or when you're running a long distance and you can see the finish line, your body starts to say, okay, we can give up now. We're almost there, but you're not there yet. You can't give up yet. And so it's really easy to see that finish line there, see this season coming to an end and wanting to kind of put on cruise control now and get to the playoffs. But it's not how it works. You got to push through these last 3 weeks, man. Got to get through them.
That being said, kind of going off of that, Anthony, what you just said, there's some area teams now with the different way it is in this day and age for the playoffs in Ohio. There's some area teams that they're only playing 9 regular season games, and then they have that bye. Do you think the bye is a good thing? Do you like the bye, or do you think maybe it takes away from a lot of these high schoolers and the chances to play those 10 games, and a lot of them are never going to play again? So do you think the buys take anything away from that? And also, do you think there's any benefit to the bye at all?
I don't like buys in high school. You don't need a buy in high school football. One, it's 10 weeks. It's not 12 weeks like college or 13 or 14. It's not 17 weeks of football like the NFL. It's 10 weeks. It's a shorter season than any other level of football. One. Two, the kids are younger. They can take more. Let's just all realize that. These kids are in the prime physical of their life. They can go 10 weeks straight of football. And I like that you brought up, like, you're guaranteed 10 games. You're allowed to play 10 games in a season. You might not make the playoffs. You might not get 11, but you are guaranteed 10. So why take one of those games away from guys that probably play in the last week of football? Now, sometimes not the choice to have the bye week. You lose a game, gets canceled, you can't pick something up. I get that. No harm in that. Nothing wrong with that. But if you choose to have a bye week and you're just like, yeah, I'll take the bye, I gotta say, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of it, especially in high school football. I don't think we need a bye in high school football.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only thing it helps is if you're injured, but the chances are in high school. I just don't. I just love everything about. That's why I love being on the show with you, because we take pride in giving these young kids a platform and showcasing them. And I just don't like the idea of robbing them of a game. To me, it just seems like it's robbing them of that one last. I just like the 10 games. I don't know. Like you said, they're younger. It's not as taxing as it is on other levels. They're young. I think they recover, get rejuvenated quicker. So I really don't understand why some teams, do take the bye. I don't get it.
Without circumstances, like, you can be like hurt to the extent that you just need a bye week to get healthy. Like, that's fine, whatever. Or like I said, you can have games get canceled, and it's really hard to find a game on the spot this late in the season. That's cool. But if you have a pre-planned bye week in week 8 or week 7 or any time in the season, a pre-planned, we're gonna take this bye no matter what. This is our bye week. I think that's silly. I think that's silly in high school football. And not to mention, not only are they younger, they can handle more. The level of football and the physicality of the game is way down from the other levels too. Like, you're not getting hit by college football players. You're getting hit by high school football players. It's not as physical. There are rules that are in place to make it not as dangerous, not as physical. That's another reason why you shouldn't physically need to buy unless you are so hurt or so, like, maybe there's sickness that you don't have enough players to put out there, which rarely happens, especially now that we're kind of past the whole pandemic side of things. Like, very rarely outside of small schools is there a sickness that goes around that knocks out so many players that you cannot play. And even more rare are there so many players that are straight up hurt that cannot go, that you have to cancel a game. So it happens. I get it. Sometimes it happens on the other side. You can't be held accountable for that either. If the other side decides they want to cancel the game, you're SOL, right? For lack of a better term. And then you can't do anything about that. So I'm not putting all the blame on every coach out there. But if you have a pre-planned before the season starts, like, we are going to take a bye week and week whatever because we want a bye week, I don't get it. Someone has to explain it to me.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
But hey, to each their own. If you play 9 games and go out and win the state championship, more power to you, right? Maybe it works. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna question if the results are there, Scotty. Not gonna question it. One of the things I like that you brought up though, and I wanted to talk about this on this show before we left because it's fresh in my mind, Scotty. And one of the things that I love about YSN, I know you love it too. You said we give kids a platform to tell their story, and we are not a company, and I'll say this 1,000 times until my breath is gone. My favorite thing about YSN is we do not just go to a gym or a field, set up your job, leave. Like we build bonds with these players. We watch them grow up. We care about their success. We invest in the athletes in this era, in the YSN family. That's why we call it the YSN family, because we're not just in and out and we did our job, so we're going to get out of here. And when I'm watching these senior nights, and I've been a couple of them this year, and I guess this year maybe we're getting a little bit more sentimental because now we're starting to get players that we've really covered for a long time. Some players that we know from Little League, and then all of a sudden they're seniors. These names are starting to be, almost a mainstay at YSN. So to watch some of these classes graduate, it's almost like you step back and you feel like a proud brother or a proud parent, because it's like, man, I watched these kids grow up, man. I've interviewed them 5 times. I've, gave them player profiles. I've called their games. I've watched them kind of mature, and there's such a pride, and I love it. And I know the spark of the day is kind of power hours thing, but I got a big spark today, and it's just like, man, I love getting to be in a part of a company that I'm so glad that we don't have the get in, get out mindset where it's just like, go to a gym, set up a camera, call a game, we're done, let's go. Like, that's not us. And I'm so happy that's not us. So glad that's not us. So that's a little bit of a thing that I just wanted to get out there, because I feel like watching these senior nights this year, especially, it's cool, man. It's really, I was thinking last night watching Middle Ridge's senior night, and we've covered Middle Ridge volleyball for a long time, and watching that, and I'm going, man, I am so glad that I care about senior night, because that means that I'm investing in these kids, and that's what it's about at YSN.
It really is just great stuff, and it's great that you're able to build those bonds.
Right, like I say it in my commercial, we want to impact people. I want to impact people, at least. Not going to speak for all the announcers at YSN. Maybe some of them like to just call a game. That's cool. But for me, my thing that I love about this job is impacting people. So I love it. I love watching senior nights. I love that I care about senior night. I love that I'm not just showing up and rolling my eyes through senior night. Like, let's get to the game, like I see some members of the media do. I like that we have built enough of a bond with players that we care that they're graduating, and we're proud that they've been able to to reach that milestone, and it's cool. So that's my spark of the day. Even though we're not on Power Hour, I'm sure you'll have a spark on Power Hour with the Joe Dickey Electric Spark of the Day. I don't get one because we don't have that promotion on Running Point. So I figured one day, one time, I'd get one, Scotty. Give me one. I want a spark.
It's like Spider-Man. Everybody
Right.
gets one.
Everybody gets one, right? Wait, let me see if I can. For the brand. Hold on. Let me see. Yeah, for the brand. There. Got a spark, okay? There you go.
Nice. You got your one.
Running Point.
Awesome.
Oh man. Scotty, let's go over the scoreboard for tonight. What's going on tonight in tonight's action and broadcast. Before we go over the games, I want to remind everyone that we will have live shows tonight. Like we always do on Wednesdays. Camel will be live from Tavern 26 with Matt Marr. We have the Canfield show with DJ Oakley at Coco's Pizza as well tonight. So make sure to get out there and support those athletes that will be showing up on those shows like they do on Tuesdays and Wednesdays and Mondays for the high school sports season. Here's what's going on tonight. Battle of 224 in volleyball. Canfield going to Poland. Warren Harding traveling to LeBray. Struthers goes to East. Jefferson will be at Edgewood. St. John going to Grand Valley. Springfield going to East Palestine. We have Chalker going to Lordstown. Don't know why that's on there because that's not Ysn schools, but okay. Madison going to Perry. Liberty going to South Range. Lisbon going to Steubenville Central Catholic. Fortner, Frontier. I don't know why I couldn't see that. Frontier going to Lisbon. That is an OVAC consolation game. We have Southern Local going to Cameron out of West Virginia. That's also an OVAC consolation. We also have Southern playing Payton City. West Geauga will play Orange. Latonia plays Wellsville. Crestview hosts West Middle Ridge. Lakeview goes to McDonald. Matthews goes to Maplewood. Goes to Badger, and then Louisville hosting Fairless. We go into boys soccer tonight. Cardinal Mooney and Ursuline, the Holy War on the boys soccer field. That should be a fun one. Middle Ridge goes to Brookfield. Garfield goes to Champion. Jackson Milton goes to Waterloo. LeBray goes to Southeast. Liberty goes to Newton Falls. Lakeview goes to Poland. Salem going to Beaver Local. And girls soccer, South Range and Hubbard. Another Holy War. It's a boys-girls doubleheader. Mooney at Ursuline. Madison will go to Perry. Beaver will go to Quaker Valley. We have Mohawk at Southside. Jefferson will be at Edgewood tonight. Newton Falls goes to Brookfield. Girard goes to Niles. We have Lakeview going to Struthers. Howland hosting Poland. Fitch hosting Boardman. Canfield going to Warren Harding. And last but not least, we have Salem at Beaver Local. That'll be a boys-girls doubleheader as well. So that is your scoreboard for tonight. Let's also go over the broadcasters who will be where and what games you can see on ysnlive.com/live. So tonight we have 5 volleyball matchups that you can watch on ysnlive.com/live. We'll have Jefferson and Edgewood. Larry Jennings will be on the call there. Madison will be at Perry. The school will have you covered for that one. Columbiana and Lisbon. Rick Daly will have the call. Fairless and Louisville. Rob Johnson will be on the call for that. And then the school will also have Poland and Canfield. That'll be video only from Poland's Huddle Cam. Girls soccer, the Perry school is going to be taking care of their matchup with Madison. And Poland school will be taking care of their boys soccer matchup with Lakeview. Reminder that once again, we will have Canfield Sports Show at Coco's Pizza tonight with DJ Oakley and the Camel Sports Show tonight live at Tavern 26 with Matt Marr. So go over to those places, check out interviews with GOES athletes and coaches over there, and then come back here tomorrow, 1 to 2, Running Point. We will talk girls soccer postseason. We'll break down the seedings and the brackets for girls soccer And we'll also have a player profile featured on Running Point tomorrow, 1 to 2, and always brought to you by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Thank you so much for sticking with us for a little bit of extra time today. We appreciate it, and we'll see you all tomorrow.